Hi, thanks very much for listening to that. I was lucky enough to have a few days at the coast with the family, and between walks on the beach and enjoying the beautiful weather that we had, I sent myself a little learning exercise in FL Studio Mobile. So overall, I was very happy with how easy the app is to learn, and I was able to come up with this first attempt at a tune very quickly. Everything is self-contained within the app. There are pros and cons to that. So mostly you gain some ease of use and you sacrifice some flexibility. So for comparison, although for example, is great for putting together combinations of AUV3 apps in virtually any kind of signal flow that you want, I do sometimes get frustrated having to use different specialized sequences in OM, whereas in a DAW like this, like FL Studio or in GarageBand, I'm using the same piano roll, so a uniform sequencer for all of the instruments. So the learning is a little bit easier and the execution's a little bit easier. The drum sequencer in FL Studio I found quite easy to use. So if I can go into this, I remember where it if I can remember where it is. So this is part of the thing in FL Studio. The user interface or the user experience is a little bit funky at first. So you've got these kind of sidebar, pull-ins and so forth, which are seemingly sort of coming at you from every direction. It can be a little bit confusing at first, but you do kind of get used to it after a while. So this particular one, so if I want to look at my hi-hat channel, for example, if I do edit, then it gives me, so this is my drum sequencer up here. So this is what I mean. The thing is, it's aligned around drum steps rather than a piano roll, if you see what I mean. So the thing's a little bit easy to visualize in terms of that. There's another one of these pull-ups here, or pull-ins, or whatever you want to call it. So here you can adjust velocity, panning, pitch, and repeat. So you've got a little bit of creative control, or actually a lot of creative control within that on your individual drum parts, which I thought was pretty good. So now how do I get back? I'll just X out of that. Okay. Yeah, so that's the drum sequencer. And then the piano roll sequencer, I won't bother to show you that. It's just like it is in pretty much any other app, like GarageBand and so forth. So the user interface is a little funky, but you get used to it pretty quickly. So there's no support for AUV3, but there are a good number of built-in effects. So see if I can find one on one of these channels here. Yeah, so for example here, so this is my synth, my Supersaw, and then I've got an effect added here, a filter. And if you want to add other effects, there's a good number of effects that you've got to choose from. So there's a good variety in there. And you can be quite creative with that. Of course, now here I couldn't use the FabFilter Pro Q3 for my EQ, but there's a graphic EQ there that you can use, and I found that pretty useful. I think I used that on my main channel there. Now, the only thing I found sort of difficult about this thing is that I was not able to find a way to make a recording like in a live setting, if you see what I mean. So I've got this running as a loop, right? The way that this is set up is it wants to behave like a DAW. So it seems to want you to set up your automation here, and to do what I think it calls rendering. So it'll render to a WAV file, or however you want to export the track. And that's got pros and cons, right? So the upside of doing that is that the rendering process is fast relative to the length of the track, so you don't have to wait so long to get your rendered track. The downside of doing it that way is it makes it difficult, or in this case, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I don't actually think it's possible to record what I just did, completely self-contained within the app itself. But I'll show you how I'm doing that. Right? So I've got another app running actually while I'm talking here, so I'll stop that. So this is an app called Audio Share, and it's from Kymatica. Where's my abouts? If I show you that, yeah, Audio Share. If I do this, it shows you Kymatica, yeah. So it's the same people that created OM that did this thing. And so the reason I'm using this is that you can set up a recording like this, and I can choose here. You can choose any of your instruments or DAWs or whatever as your inputs to this thing, right? And you can just record it, or you can record vocals or whatever you want. You're just like a voice memo type thing. It seems to be very lightweight and easy to use. I believe it does rely on what's it called, AAC? Is it the internal audio format, which I think Apple has actually deprecated, but seems to be sticking around, and hopefully will stick around for a little while longer, because this thing is pretty useful. But the reason I like this one particularly is because you create a new recording, you hit record, and it just kind of politely sits there and waits for some kind of signal from that app, right? It doesn't trigger anything here, and the reason that's important is I'll stop this and I'll show you. So if I quit this and I try to do the same thing in OM, for example. So I'm adding something here to go to audio. I'm going to add it's an Interapp audio. Look for FL Studio. I think it's down the bottom somewhere. There it is. So add that. So if I try to do the same thing here, right? So I'm going to arm this for recording, right? And I've got my same track here. So now if I trigger recording on this, okay, I can hear it start. Okay, no problem, right? But if I go back to here, what it's done is it has triggered automation here. So it's set my, so this is going to record automation in. So if I try to do anything like, unmute tracks and so forth, it records that as an automation, which is not what I want, right? So I want something which is, stop that, and let's stop my recording here. It's actually stopped that. Yeah, so the apps kind of talk to each other. So I don't actually want that. What I want is just something which just kind of sits there in the background and records my live performance, if you see what I mean, which, as I say, doesn't seem to be possible directly in FL Studio Mobile, which seems a little strange. But I've probably been spoiled by using Orm, is what it is, where you can do pretty much anything that you want, which is, as I say, great, but also, sort of tends to pull you down the rabbit hole a little bit. What else have I got here? So overall, I found the app very easy to learn. I got to this first track very, very quickly. Clearly, it's something very, very simple. And I thought that there was a sufficient number, at least, for my purposes, of internal synths and effects and everything to definitely, absolutely do something creative. And certainly if you are looking for something that's self-contained, definitely a great option. If you're looking for something that has more of a Dewar feel to it, maybe something that gives you something just a little bit different than GarageBand, then absolutely great. Definitely recommend it. I'm looking to making more tracks on this. Thanks very much for watching.